Oh, okay. Wow! Hey everyone, welcome. Welcome to this week's news and updates. I am Laurel.
Oh, I'm Donna. I hope you can hear me now. Oh my gosh. I just realized at the last minute that I wanted to make sure I didn't have Discord open at the same time. My last event, I forgot to close Discord and somebody called me during the event. Did you know how loud that ring is? Oh my gosh. I was panicked. So I got the in my face. Because somebody did just try and call me and nobody heard it.
Yay!
Mark, our esteemed producer and the genius of this weekly AltSpace VR news show that I'm so honored to be a part of, is behind the camera bot. He's live streaming to everyone out in the metaverse and beyond and down on the floor, helping moderate all you news and updates fans, along with our beautiful moderators with special powers to ensure we have a great news and updates event.
Indeed. And one of these days, Donna, we're going to have a really clean entrance. I promise.
Well, I expect to be a lot grayer when that happens.
Don't tell. To everyone here, welcome to they're celebrating Easter, Passover, Pesach, Sinhala, or Tamil New Year's Eve, or whatever holiday that finds you this weekend. And welcome to the millions around the world that are celebrating and grieving as we continue to self-quarantine to protect ourselves and each other from this pandemic.
So honestly, I have to say that being part of the AltSpace VR community has really helped me to stay focused and less fearful and alone, as I'm constantly with others, even though we are self-isolating and not with friends, family, and at our jobs. Here in AltSpace, we can connect with everyone, including people from around the world. Don't you just love that about AltSpace VR and love this community? So let's give it all sorts of hearts. I hear people doing it already, but yeah, that's great. You didn't know. Yeah.
I love it. So, and let's not forget to give some hearts to the AltSpace staff who continue to work away from their offices and their big computers and their servers to keep this community going from home and all of this installation. Many of them we have some announcements.
So one of the challenges of managing our wonderful tools that protect us and allow us to control our experience is being improved. Until this week, Blocklist had problems syncing across multiple devices as the data was stored on the client for each device and computer. This week, Altspace VR announced that the blocked users list they've moved the list onto their servers to ensure that there is a single master list. They've asked us to check each of our own block lists and to check any updates to your list to ensure that it's correct. So go ahead and update lists to make sure they're right. Block list management should be greatly improved. Boy,
Yay.
One thing at a time, hey guys.
Indeed. The regular update to Altspace VR came out this week with some goodies. Oh, I'm so excited about this one. You now have the ability to set the default audio input for your device, and it will persist going forward. Yeah. This is awesome for those who are using multiple headsets or phones or different applications on the same computer system. You can lock it in here in Altspace, so check that out.
Now, improvements have been made to logins and the account switching process to remove errors and make the process easier.
Yay! Love that. For those that are hosting events using the Altspace VR template event spaces that have those microphones and the whatnot, the issues with the host panel megaphone and those interactable microphones canceling each other out has been fixed. Oh, I'm so thrilled. I cannot tell you how annoying that was. You'd walk over, you'd be on megaphone, you'd unknowingly walk over by one of those microphones and it would switch off your megaphone. It was just painful. Anyway, event hosts and presenters are definitely rejoicing as this has been so annoying.
Now, the next one we're going to talk about, I'm actually personally really excited about this one. I use Messages extensively. And I refer back to the website for Messages all the time. And I show lots of people how to log in and how to review messages that you've sent or you've received. So in Altspace, you have that ability to text message to friends. You may see them when you open up your friends list. One of the tabs says Messages. So that's when you're at altvr.com on their website. And it helps you preserve the notes, but you can check back to what you said or what somebody said to you. So the web developers have just updated that web page into a table, their user name, the message and the age of the message, as well as actions to reply to the user or copy the message to your clipboard. So one of the reasons you copy it to your clipboard is I share URLs all the time, either individually to our group when I'm having a conversation or hosting an event, right? So you can copy that right to the clipboard and then put it into an address bar. So this is really cool. And remember, as required by the GDPR and other international laws, you have the right to hit the big clear message history to remove all your messages if you have any privacy concerns at all. So thank you to Altspace VR staff and development team for this improvement. I'm absolutely thrilled about this. I use this like not every day. I use it every hour.
Wow. I need to pay more attention to it too then, obviously. So I love it. The process of approving new members into the Community Helper Program has been streamlined, we've been told, and is now happening at a faster rate. A new batch of community helpers received their green this week, and we'd like to give them some hearts and support them as they enter into a new phase in their Altspace VR experience with a heart of service.
Remember, to support and encourage community helpers, please don't refer to them as admins, staff, or moderators. Why? Because it makes them sound like they're paid, and they are not employees. They are just truly helpful members of our community willing to step forward and share their experience and familiarity with Altspace VR community events and world building. I get asked multiple times whether I work for AltSpace. Well, I do lots of work for AltSpace. I just don't get paid for them. We do it all as volunteers, right? And there's so many people that love this community and give so much of their time, their heart to this, and being a community helper, it's a great thing to recognize. And make sure if you're not a helper and you have questions or whatever, go up to them and talk to them. That's the whole thing about being a community helper. We want to engage with you, so please feel free to approach us anytime.
And I'd like to remind you that community helpers aren't just those who are doing events. To get to earn the badge, events are a part of the process, but for the part of the requirements. But we are world builders. We're helping out in the info zone. We're all over the place, making people feel welcome and doing that heart of service. And it's just, I don't know whether to say I am so thrilled that we have new people that are becoming community helpers, or saying I'm just pitying you because now you've got a whole lot more responsibility. But we love our community helpers, and thank you for all the things that you do here. It's beautiful.
Now, as with all things news and updates from AltSpace VR, we report on these in our news and Discord and updates Discord server. And we invite you to join if you haven't already, where you can keep up with news across our community and follow the YouTube streaming and the save video links.
Yeah! So, come join us. Let's talk about one of my favorite subjects, world building. Now, if you're new to AltSpace VR and you haven't already, please go to your settings, general, and flip on Enable Worlds Beta. So if you don't see a Worlds tab at the bottom of your menu screen, so everybody click that circle if you haven't done already, if you don't know what I'm talking about. Hit that big circle, go to Settings, General, and flip on Enable Worlds Beta. A tab appears at the bottom that will open up a world of delight and imagination and exploration. Do know that worlds are in beta, as they are user created, thus may cause some devices to crash or get glitchy if the world isn't optimized for that device.
Now, we gave you a sneak preview of the new World Editor feature last week, and it actually arrived this week. It is an improved method for adjusting the position access lock for rotation lock. By locking a specific rotation or position of the asset, it allows you to move in any direction you wish. In other words, allowing you to rotate horizontally and not vertically, or lock the height while allowing you to rotate the item in place. We can tell you that this is amazing for world builders working with the World Editor. Absolutely love this feature. And for if you don't know what we're talking about and you start world building and you have access to this feature right away, just count yourself lucky. And for all of you world builders who have been struggling with these things for a long time, this is just for you.
Yeah, it's been yes. So a couple weeks ago, the AltSpace VR World Building Discord server announced it would be closing public discussions. So that server will remain open for a while, but now all comments are closed, and everything's been moved over to the official AltSpace VR Discord. So I just want to tell you, that's kind of heartbreaking because there is so much information in there, and you know, it was kind of nice having the world builders to have their own special place where we could hang out and talk about all the different aspects of world building. But now it makes sense to bring it all together in the same official AltSpace VR Discord. So, you know, we just keep it all in one place.
Now, however, we still have links in the lobby to the World Building Discord, and we recommend you check it out. Search through it, read through the posts. There are amazing tips, tricks, recommendations, and freely given advice on how to build worlds in AltSpace VR with the World Editor, as well as with Unity. Learn from them. If you have a question on how to do something, search there. Use it as a resource archive. It is really an invaluable resource.
Oh.
Laurel, are you still with us?
I know. I'm sorry. I had the hiccups and I was trying to mute and unmute and stop the little things. Anyway.
Oh, you're hiccuping. I'm sneezing.
Yeah, I know it. We're doing great. So, okay. All world building announcements and everything else is now found in the 3 channels in the Altspace VR Discord. There's the world building channel and channels for the MRE discussion and work in progress for support and discussions. Now, please keep world building conversations in these channels, not the other ones, to help you get the help you need and to help us keep that Discord nice, the server nice and tidy. But please show off or promote your world. So don't forget to use the show off and the photos channels so we can see what you're doing, because trust me, we love it.
Now, some discussions have been swirling in and around the world building community that we here at News and Updates would like to help clarify from a legal perspective, not personal or emotional. It's really hard to separate those, isn't it, guys? But we need to consider the legal perspective today. Trust us, when it comes to creative spirits and intellectual property laws, and they are backed by the emotions tend to run high. Sorry. So let me start this again. Trust us, when it comes to creative spirits and intellectual property laws, emotions tend to run high. But laws are laws, and they are backed by the Altspace VR terms of service, as well as international laws and history.
Now, we know you didn't read the Altspace VR terms of service when you signed up. If you did, right? You didn't read it. We know. And a few months ago, when some of the terms of service were challenged, Lunar held some public sessions where he went over an hour. He spent over an hour reading it out loud to the community, which ignited many discussions on each of the policies. Now, his goal was to ensure that we have a better informed community. Now it's our turn to help with that process today when it comes to world building.
So now it states clearly in the terms of service, section 5, paragraph D, that gives you some idea of how long this document is. You must have rights to the content you post in Altspace VR. When you create original content, be it a poem, sculpture, or visual object, it is copyrighted instantly under international law, and you become the copyright holder. The item becomes intellectual property, and as such, you, as the creator and owner, have certain rights. You may change it, destroy it, give it away, or charge for the right to use it as you designate.
Now, among those rights is the right to protect your intellectual property. People cannot use it, modify it, or give it to someone else unless you specifically give them permission. These permissions are called copyright licenses and permissions.
So for instance, when you download a free asset or kit from the Unity store, you agree to abide by the copyright license set by the copyright owner. It may state that you are given the right to change the item or distribute it freely. Or it may state that you may use this for personal and not for commercial use. Or that you may not change or modify the item and not distribute it to others.
It's the same assets to Unity assets. Licenses are stated fairly clearly, but not all, as to rights for usage. So if you buy a Unity asset or kit, the license says you may change, modify, distribute it, or resell it, then go ahead, because you are given permission to do so. But if it doesn't state clearly what you can and cannot do with the with the item, I'm sorry, Dana. It's another for the blooper reels. I love it. Okay, so if you buy an asset or a kit and the license says you may change it or modify it or distribute or resell it, please go ahead. If it doesn't, or it doesn't state clearly what you can or cannot do with the item, you do not have the right to change it, modify it, distribute it, or resell it.
Okay, let's try this. That's what the law says. International copyright law states that once an item is fixed in a permanent form, it has value and use, and that value and use is the right of the copyright holder to assign. If they want to give it away, they can. If they want to charge for it, they can. There are many layers to this, and it is beyond the scope of news and updates to provide a class on copyrights and intellectual property. So let's turn to the AltSpace VR terms of service to see what it says.
So first of all, it says you must have rights to the content you post. You must not post any user content to the service if you are not the copyright owner or are not fully authorized to grant rights in all elements of user content. So we're talking about world building kits, world building assets, okay? So this means if you don't legally own the rights to it, you cannot do anything you want. You can only do what the copyright holder permits.
It states that if you are not to violate the copyrights, contract rights, intellectual property rights, or any other rights, and that your user content will not result in a breach of contract between you and a third party. Anybody else feel like they need to go to Law School 101? Upon request, you are required to provide sufficient evidence of having all necessary rights, licenses, authorizations, permissions, and clearances for user-generated or imported content. Failure to do so could result in the removal of the content, or in extreme cases, termination of your account.
And we've seen this before with people creating Harry Potter, Star Wars, and other branded and copyrighted and trademarked material. A great example is that you cannot create an event with the name AltSpace VR or AltSpace in the title, just to protect the trademark, another intellectual property, but also to ensure that there's no implied support in AltSpace. So we have people in room 2. So hopefully
hello, everyone.
Y'all can see us. Hello, everyone in room 2. I hope you can see us. All right. So a year ago, World Builder built his favorite department store here in AltSpace, and everyone loved it. He originally named it the same name as the store, but was told he had to change it because that violated their intellectual property rights and their trademarks. So others have brought in photographs without copyright credits and permissions into their worlds and events, another violation of copyright law.
This is turning into an educational lecture. Like I said,
we didn't want to.
But we want to remind everyone that long ago, at least for some of us, in an elementary or primary school in your past, you learned that copying the work of others and using it as your own, plagiarism, is against the law and has serious consequences. Just because the intellectual property is virtual doesn't mean it's free or yours to use however you wish. So here's a summary.
It's a really quick summary. If you create an object and bring it into AltSpace VR, you do so according to the terms of service. If you choose to share it with others or not, that's up to you. By sharing, you're granting them a license to use the item. If you wish they do not modify the item, tell them. If you don't care what they do with it after you hand it over to them, tell them. It's your right to define and limit how your original work is used. Just be very, very clear, okay?
Now, if you purchase a kit or download a free one from the Unity store or other sources to bring into AltSpace VR, read the license. If it says you may do so freely, awesome. The community loves sharing. If it says you may only use it for your own purposes and not distribute it, don't. Legally, you may deprive someone from potential income, and that is a violation of the copyright and intellectual property laws and infringes on the AltSpace VR terms of service.
So just please, play nice. Read the fine print, know the laws. People have the right to charge for services and kit items if they wish and bring them into AltSpace. They also have the right to not do that. And you have the right to buy or not buy those services and kit items as the exchange happens off platform, off AltSpace, and has nothing to do directly with AltSpace. So we hope this makes sense to everyone as we need to be kinder to each other, have a better understanding of the laws that protect us and our creative works. Okay.
We really do love the creativity of our world builders, and it is important that we protect everyone's rights, Let's support them whether they pass out their kits freely, as they have every right to do, or choose to offer for payment to cover support, maintenance, and other costs, as they also have the right to do. It's the law, and it's not personal. So let's keep it that way and encourage creativity within the law.
Yeah, and keep building, keep going, because this is not new. We've been building with the law, without the law. Keep building, keep the creativity going. We just want to make sure the sniping stops. Got it? Good. All right, it's time for events. We have a ton of events for you. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the number of private events here in AltSpace has escalated dramatically. I wonder why. As more and more classes, workshops, meetings, and conferences move into VR, it's an exciting time. And you may not see it, these conferences, these meetings, or the attendees, but the people who come into AltSpace for these private events are still required to have accounts. So be welcoming.
Many within that grassroots community are considering creating virtual events, some likely in VR. They've announced that the 2020 Black Rock City event will be hosted in the metaverse, not reality, which is a fascinating twist on this organic and intense festival. I think it'll be much cooler. Burning Man started
very hot there.
Burning Man started in the 1980s as a festival of creative expression and protest, celebrating artistic freedom throughout the festival, which ends with the burning of an effigy of the man.
The man, yes, it has grown into a huge international event that heads out into the Nevada desert to build a city out of nothing and leave few footprints behind when it's over. Many are very vested in supporting Burning Man, often spending months or even years designing and building their art in their village areas. And the move of all these creatives into the metaverse, woo, watch out. This opens up even more possibilities for creative expression, so expect news on the events and artistic galleries and much popping up everywhere, maybe even here in AltSpace VR. Who knows?
Now, as a reminder for those wishing to bring events here to AltSpace VR, Educators in VR continues to host a series of event-based workshops to encourage you to host your own events. The workshops include the popular Speaker 101 training, moderation and hosting tools, how to film and live stream an event, and how to host a virtual conference in AltSpace VR.
And all right, now this weekend we have many of our popular regular events like the Rocket Party, Improv Night, Universe, the Outer Space Music Festival, Rated VR, Happy Hour, Center Stage, church services, and honestly, there's no reason to feel alone and no reason to be bored here in AltSpace.
Now, this weekend is a Christian holiday, and there are many events happening in AltSpace VR to bring people together to celebrate, especially in this time where so many churches, no, all churches should not be meeting, and some are exploring different avenues. But here in AltSpace, the Live Loved After Hours has an Easter service. VR Church has multiple ones on Sunday, Church Toronto, and more. So make sure you check the schedule for them.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is really, I'm excited about this. Evolve VR is presenting a special event called Coronavirus and Your Biological Enlightenment with there's three amazing panelists here. Dr. John Cumbers, who's the founder of synthetic biology network called SynBio Beta, and Dr. Jake Glanville, who is the star of Netflix's Pandemic series, and the founder of Distributed Bio, a startup engineering, a company that is engineering antibodies to attack the novel coronavirus. What an excellent opportunity to discuss this subject with experts, absolute experts, not wackadoodles, experts on the subject right here tomorrow in AltSpace VR. Love that.
Now, Evolve VR is also hosting a meditation fundraiser with Sanshin for the Monastic Academy in Lowell, Vermont on Friday. Lol, whatever. Come join and donate to help support this worthy cause in a community devastated by COVID-19 and this school struggling to survive.
I love all the good-hearted, the fundraiser and the events and things that are happening here in AltSpace. It is so beautiful. I love it. And we forgot to mention because of Easter, the hunt is still on, isn't it? Henry, give me some hearts. Is the hunt still on? Yeah.
Till the 21st.
Till the 21st. Keep the hunt alive for those Easter eggs all over AltSpace.
Yeah, till the 21st.
Inwards till the 21st. Beautiful. And Ron Flannery continues his humanist. I'm going to say it right. I know the word. Boy, it's rubbing off on me, Donna. The humanism. My turn. Okay. His humanism meetups, and tomorrow he'll be covering Evolution 101, something I failed in, an introduction to how evolution works from a humanist perspective. Now I'm going to struggle with that word. It's your fault. He also announced that due to the COVID-19 crisis giving him a little more time to do things like some of the rest of us, he will be hosting his meetups weekly for a while and repeating some of his past presentations. I realize this is really a good idea. If you're an educator or you have meetups and themed meetups here in AltSpace, why not dust off some of your oldies and bring them back for more? Just step up the frequency of your events and support us in this time of need. So thanks, Ron, for the idea. I love it.
I have to say there's sometimes I come in 2D to host the news and updates, and sometimes I really wish that I was in my Quest so you could see what my arms are doing when we're talking. But they were flailing a little when you did that paragraph. Sorry, Laurel.
That's all right.
Our beloved Chuck Webster of Health Systems Chat was featured on the website of the Healthcare Information and Management Systems Society, Inc., HIMSS. They were discussing how the new social app is healthcare in VR. It's a great look into his ongoing work in AltSpace VR to bring the latest in healthcare technology to the community through his Health Systems Chat events held weekly. This week, he is considering combating coronavirus through design thinking when the Health Experience Design and Global Online UX Healthcare Virtual Conferences should be happening in the real world and are going virtual. Joining longtime VR experts like Chuck in our metaverse, check out his special events on Wednesday. And can I just say, if there's a conference out there that has more than 4 or 5 words in its name, Chuck is associated with it. Every one of his conferences has a name that's like, I don't know how he does that, but he's so gifted in so many different ways.
It's beautiful. I love it. Oh, God, that's very true. Oh, that's too funny. Okay. So, okay. Pull it together. Honey Bear Live is a new interactive talk show with Honey Bear, where the audience quickly becomes the experts in the interview subjects. I love that idea. Tomorrow the topic is, what movies did you grow up with? Likely to offer some opportunities to reflect on their impact on you and society. Think about all the movies and how they impacted our lives. What a fun conversation. I love it.
Now, if you're somebody who doesn't like to reveal your age, this might not be the event for you. Now,
I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
So now Get Social in Virtual Spaces has expanded their VR events and activities here at AltSpace VR and elsewhere with a brand new Discord channel and some new events. They've long offered free language open discussion and learning events here in AltSpace VR, and they're bringing back Japanese. So hang out on Thursday to work on your Japanese and learn more about speaking the language.
Love it. And Get Social is also offering a VR community workshop on Thursday as an open discussion about respecting yourself and others and learning how to be a citizen of the metaverse and this mixed community that we love. Andy Fidel's a longtime expert in VR social and social VR, and she's going to help us learn about the etiquette and social cues and rules about keeping our virtual community happy, healthy, secure, and safe. Love that.
She's amazing. You guys have probably caught up with her. She's doing some shifts in the campfire, and she has so many different events. So speaking of social, tomorrow is the very popular UK meetup with the incredible Daisy Shaw. If you live in the UK or are an expat or fan of the UK, all are welcome to join her and hang out and get to know each other. This event has been going for several months thanks to the dedication of Daisy Shaw and her team. We really, really need more groups like this coming together to socialize in your own community and in your own language. So consider following her example and start one of your own. And really, there's people that we meet all the time that, especially because we're predominantly English, of course, that people apologize for not speaking English very well. And I'm always mortified when people do that because my first response is, you speak French? I don't speak French at all. Your English is way better than my French. And I think that encouraging people to do things in your own language and get together, I think we really need more. We have that diversity here in Altspace, so let's show it off.
Agree completely. So thanks for doing this, Daisy Shaw.
I'm done my rant.
Speaking of safe and healthy communities, can you hear
there
me?
We are.
Okay. Speaking of safe and healthy communities, the Alcoholics Anonymous meetings here in Altspace now offers a 12-step study session on Thursdays that is closed. What this means is the event is in private, but Scott, the host, has asked the community to please respect the privacy and security of attendees by only entering the event if you are a recovering alcoholic or an addict. It is likely that there will be strong moderation and the event will be closed as soon as people arrive, so get there on time. We really want to support groups like this that are supporting these sensitive issues and sensitive populations, so spread the word. And thanks for encouraging and supporting this event. And if you would like to help moderate this, I betcha that Scott would appreciate it. So, track him down and ask him how we can, as a community, support this great event.
And these really are just a few of the many things happening here in Altspace VR. Check the calendar for more information and details on events happening here, and consider making one, hosting one of your own. So RSVP an event to trigger email reminders so that you don't miss events that you might be interested in. And really, some people plan their events far out, so you can go through the calendar and you can mark interested for this week, next month, etc. But there's also some people that add their events at the last minute. So keep checking back to that calendar because you will continually see new events being added.
Yes. Now, time for our big open discussion. We only have a few minutes for this discussion, but we were revisiting the Altspace VR terms of service today, one of the things that caught my eye, I thought was really particularly interesting. It states that by signing up and entering Altspace VR, you will not provide any false personal information or create a false identity or impersonate another person or an identity in any way. Okay, so we're allowed to have display names or usernames, whatever we want. Okay, as long as it's okay. We can't say whatever you want because there's some people making some bad name choices. Sorry. So it needs to be family and work friendly and do no harm names. That makes sense. Okay, we understand it's illegal in the real world as well as here in Altspace to falsify your identity and impersonate someone else. There's jokes, practical jokes, but we're talking about serious stuff. But there's this bigger mythology and assumption that about VR based on the belief that when you go into VR, it's kind of like Ready Player One. You can be whoever you want to be. And you can assume any identity that you want and become it. So, Donna, should you? What do you think about that?
Oh, I'm not supposed to put the question out there. You're actually looking for an answer from me?
I want to know your opinion, of course.
Interesting. Well, I know there's people with social anxiety that struggle to be themselves. So they come in here and maybe they choose an avatar that doesn't reflect. Maybe it doesn't reflect their skin color. It doesn't reflect their sex, maybe. And so I've always accepted that with no judgment, because I think each one of us brings to Altspace what we want to bring. And I think that that's something we have to accept, that each one of us comes in here as what we want to bring. Sorry, I'm going to be tongue-tied. You know me, I need a little bit more time to think about this, but I think that's I personally don't see anything wrong with that. I want people to be comfortable. Now, but on the other side, I want those people to understand that when I have a conversation with somebody, I'm authentically me. And if I'm having a conversation with somebody who's not authentically them, that's a disruptive relationship. And although I can appreciate that people want to maybe represent themselves differently in VR, it's hard to have authentic relationships. And one of the things I love about VR is the friendships I've made, the conversations I've had, the vulnerabilities that we've shared. And that can't happen if I don't understand what the person that I'm talking to. And some people are really sensitive about it. So some people, I would appreciate sometimes if you're representing someone, sorry if I'm overstepping Laurel, but this is how I feel. If you're representing somebody who does not look like the avatar you're sharing, and you're in a conversation where you're sharing, like where you're actually being friendly, that you share something about why that is. Because I feel rude asking, but I would also like to know. But I feel rude asking, and it's hard. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but that's the one part that is hard for me, right? But I really think everybody has I think we can't stop the right of doing it. Does that make sense?
It makes absolute sense. So we're putting it out there. We have just a few minutes. If you have something succinct to say on this subject about should you be, about the mythology that when we put our avatars on, that we become somebody that we're not. Is that good? Is it bad? Should we? Any comments about that? All right, hit that raise hand button. Henry, hi.
Hello. I missed what you said about the whole copyright thing, but there are some laws about fair use in copyright.
Yes, but we're not
laws.
talking about that. That's a whole different discussion. Yeah, but we're talking about avatars right now. Yes, there is copyright.
There are people that come in here. There are people that come in here and are like Mickey Mouse or Kermit the Frog, and it's like, are you really these people? Is this who you want people to think you are? So I get it. What you're saying, Donna, about trying to find, like, if you're going to be friends with me, like, be you. Don't be like this character you're playing.
Okay, great. Cool. All right. Thank you. Okay, Ancient I Won't Say. How about you?
Simple enough, the choice of your avatar, want it or not, does reflect a bit about your person, because there's a reason why you chose the avatar you are currently in, and not something else. So if you choose something like Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck or whatever, a big busted anime girl, for example, it definitely says something about you. And whether you want it or not, whether you want to convey that image, it doesn't matter. Yeah, this is the image the person in front of you receives from you, and that's nothing you can change about. So if you want you are what you look like, so to say.
Okay.
Want it or not.
Like it or not, this is it. All right, excellent. I love it. Okay. Wow. Look at this. Diamond, you're up.
Okay. I have a couple of comments. One is the the names kind of are funny. Like one was Mr. Farts a lot. And I had yet I don't take him seriously. You know, if he was going to have a decent discussion with me, I could not take him seriously. Because I think what ancients say, you do reflect the choices you make.
Ooh, well
The
said.
other one, I was on a class the other night, and God and the Grim Reaper were having an argument. And I thought, isn't this interesting? I thought, I just had to laugh because I thought, this is just a little insane. The thing that bothers me most, though, the thing that bothers me most are the kids that have lied to get on here.
Yeah.
That they have created false identities, and you know aren't 13, and it just breaks my heart. So anyway, that's what I want to say.
Brilliant, and I totally agree on that one. Wow. I'm still reading from God and the Grim
God and
Reaper.
the Reaper.
Oh, sorry.
And it's,
Oh my God.
isn't it right? Some of the names, like you want to refer to somebody, there's 5 or 7 people in a group and you want to refer to some, and there's some names where I just don't actually feel comfortable saying the names out loud. And yeah, that just,
I'm with
it
you on
always
that.
bothers me when,
Yeah, there was someone that came in here that said had their display name was hey, I'm crazy. And so it's like, hey, I'm crazy. It's not like something you want to shout across the room. So I just found that just really uncomfortable. Lisa, what do you have to say?
Mainly, I think it's just the fact that I don't have a problem with people taking on the false identities, for want of a better word. But really, what it boils down to is what their intentions are. If they're literally just coming in to be somebody that they can't be in the real world, if they want to just troll people or be aggressive or be bullies, that's mainly what I take umbrance with. Other than that, I mean, taking on we all take on false identities. How many of us? I know there are a few of us who have our real names up here, but I haven't got a problem with people not having their real name, making something up. I mean, let's face it, our avatars don't look anything like us.
True.
And anonymity is one of the beauties of Altspace. It makes people feel safe. There are a lot of people with social anxieties who feel safer with that element of anonymity in here.
I agree. I love that. Thank you. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to do just a couple more. Aaron Bacon, you're on. Aaron? Okay. Sorry, got an audio problem on that one. All right, so Black Storm, you're on. Black Storm?
Hi, Black Storm Boss. Black Storm Boss. Hi.
Mm-hmm.
I was wanting to say that
Yeah, okay.
I like the avatars that you have, and I think that there should be more choices and dresses and styles and everything. I think there should be more choices in avatars, and you need to change it too. I don't think they should be limited to what people can think and do for their avatars. I think there should be a lot more. Let us have wings. Let us do things with it.
Agree, and that is
That's
coming.
my opinion. Thank
No,
you.
yeah. Well, oh, great. Thank you and welcome. Hi. So just to let you know, that is right now we're in what are called placeholder avatars. So we're not talking so much about our avatars and even the display names, so they are reflective of ourselves. What we're talking about is when people fake their identity and get behind this avatar and become something that they're not. But we have some new avatars that are in the works. We're hearing little rumors. So we're waiting to see what happens about it. All right, last one, Dave. Dave, you're on. What do you have to add to this conversation? Dave? Oops. I'll try again. Dave, you're up. Do you want to speak? Okay, Dave is not here. So Alex, one last word. Alex, you're on. CVDRA.
Hey, hello.
Hi, hello.
This brings up a really interesting question of who you are or who you aren't. That's really dependent on your environment. And that's not such an absolute thing. And that's what the internet did also when it first came about. It was very contextual. So you can be a lot of things in different contexts at the same time and not mutually exclusive. So I think, that's just a reality. That's just the freedoms that this brings, and the less constraints you have, the more expressivity you're going to end up having. And so I think that's a pretty interesting thing. And we never had this before, so, we're going to have to figure it out, but it's cool anyway.
Excellent points all. This is wonderful. There's been many, many studies that have been done in Second Life, because Second Life is 15 years, 20 years old, or 20 some years old now, as well as in VR, which is older than you think it is. And the research is showing us that while people may play at being someone else in VR, that people tend to be more real than false. That their true self tends to kind of rise up, especially when they're surrounded by a really safe, secure environment with supportive and encouraging people. And I think that's really, really important. So your points are all beautifully made. I love it. Yes, we want to fix people using stupid names on their displays so that we don't have to yell out. What was it? JW says, oh, Hitler's left nut. Not something I want to yell across the room. Okay? Not into that one. That was a toxic name, okay? So, you have to be kind with our display names as well. But more than that, if we want this to succeed, and Donna made some absolutely beautiful points with it, and as did you all, we want everyone to succeed in this. This community is built here on very, very strong ideals. Much like, I think of them as like Star Trek and the Federation and the Star Trek mythos, infinite diversity and infinite combinations. And we've created a safe, inclusive place for everyone, almost no matter your age, as in legal age. Doesn't matter if you're talking to somebody who's 80 years old in here, which I have and I love, or somebody who is 18 years old, that we make it safe for them, no matter their gender, their sexual preference, their skin color, religion, whatever they happen to be, that we have the opportunity to create a really tolerant society here where everyone has a place in our community to thrive
Can I add,
and be themselves. Yes.
Can I just add one thing? I think that one thing that I've noticed is that I'll have a conversation with somebody and I'll enjoy that conversation, whether we agree or disagree on points, doesn't matter. I've enjoyed the conversation. And then I find something out about that person, doesn't matter what it is, I find something out. And I think to myself, I've often done this, I've thought to myself, if I would have met that person in real life, I don't think I would have ever had a conversation with them. But there's something about VR that puts us on a common platform. And now all of a sudden we don't see disabilities, we don't see races, there's a whole bunch of things that we don't see, which are in the real world barriers to be neighbors and to enjoy conversations, right? And we don't have that. And that is one of the things that still gives me chills in alt space, that we're that we have, we find more connections that way because those barriers aren't there.
Agree.
Okay.
Absolutely agree. And thank you. And thank you to everybody for your great comments. Really love them. I wish we had a whole show we could just dedicate to this. Just beautiful.
Yeah.
So Donna.
So remember that conversations don't stop here in AltSpace VR. Check out all the various Discord groups we have for the AltSpace VR community and activities. The official AltSpace VR group to keep up with the activities and events in AltSpace. And like us, many long-term events have very active Discord servers just waiting for you to join and be a part of the community, a part of the conversation inside and outside of AltSpace VR. So we have a list in the lobby just for you.
Yes, we do. And that is it for the news and updates. And you can keep up with all the news and updates by subscribing to our event through the channels tab on the AltSpace VR website at altvr.com. Join us on Discord if you catch the live stream of the past news and events right on our YouTube channel. We just added We have the Altspace VR announcement feeds that are also coming directly into the News and Updates Discord server, because we are here to help you stay updated on the news here in Altspace. So tell a friend and share your Discord and the YouTube channels to everyone so they can find out the news.
And I recommend to everyone, you know, that we know so many people that volunteer in the real world, and there's so many volunteers here in Altspace. So if you would like to volunteer and help us out, we would love it. We do this for you, but we also need your help. We need people to help film, live stream the news. We need people to supply us with photos and news and from the events and activities that happen around Altspace. We need writers, moderators, backup hosts, editors. So if you'd like to help us out, let us know on our Discord server or come and talk to one of us after the show.
Awesome. We will also hang around after the news to answer your questions and talk about what we're doing here in Altspace. So stick around. We'd love to chat with you, and thank you to